Hello, my name is Subhashish, and in this video, I would be showing you an excellent capability of Copilot which can help you post a document in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. Well, by document posting, I meant a sales order posting, a purchase order posting, a transfer order, or even a journal. Simply by answering very basic questions, the Copilot can help you post a document. But before I proceed, I would like to request you to please subscribe to my channel in case if you have already not done so. And I would also want you to watch the video till the end. Before we begin, here are some checks and balances. So, in the Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations environment where you are trying to do these customizations, you need to ensure that your Copilot for Finance and Operation apps, Copilot in Dynamics 365 Finance, and Copilot in Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management, these three are properly configured and installed, and they are not having any updates available. Also, as a prerequisite, you should be having finance and operations virtual entities, and then you need to check out in your feature management your custom API generation, this feature is enabled or not. So when you are done with all these prerequisites, then you have to also ensure that you have a unified development experience up and running and configured on your machine. Let us move on to Visual Studio. And in my Visual Studio, what I have done is that I have created a small project and with a suitable model, and don't mind about the model name, and there purposely I have not kept any extra XML documentation, just as because this is a small project which I've created for the POC's purpose. But let us focus on the content of this project. So we have to decorate the class. We have to start with the class first of all, and this class should be having a signature that says custom API, and within which you are mentioning the name of the plugin that you are going to create. So you have to create a plugin which is going to accept the sales order number, the legal entity in which this sales order is residing, and then it is going to do a packing slip of that sales order. And I am also additionally mentioning AI plugin operation attribute. So when you have mentioned that, you also have to additionally provide another identifier signature as a data contract. So all these three things, along with when you are mentioning that it implements iCustom API, thereby you are ascribing, you are ascertaining that your make.powerapps.com can understand the parameters, the input parameters, the output parameters, this class to be capable of processing user inputs to take it to Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. So I have defined very simple three input parameters: data area ID, sales ID, and item free text type of return variable, which is going to contain the execution status, the execution result of my operation. And I am on once again, I am basically ornamenting my getter setter methods, the param methods, as custom API request parameter, sales order number, legal entity, and I am also mentioning that a custom API response property as the result of the execution. Once I am done with specifying all these param methods as input, I have to specify the run method, which basically is doing the actual execution. And I am doing a change company to the data area ID, which the user is going to specify. Then I am updating the sales table by simply performing a find method. And I am calling the standard out of box sales form letter, constructing it with a packing slip. And then I am updating the sales form letter by sending across the sales table as a buffer. So this is a pretty standard way of updating a sales order with the packing slip. And if you have not specified any extra details to this method, it's going to update the entire sales order with the document date created as today's date, and all other details as total quantity as the sales order packing slip quantity. So I am not specifying any extra parameters to partially deliver or do any extra step. I'm simply delivering the entire packing slip, entire sales order. And once the execution is over, I am returning this as operation completed. The whole thing I'm keeping under a try and catch. So if anything is into a catch, so this should return the last exception into toString. So this is a very pretty straightforward way of implementation. I am just getting hold of the sales order and doing the packing slip of it, and then returning a status of the execution. So once this is done, what I have done is that I have specified menu item, a menu item which is pointing towards my newly created class, which I just have created. And apart from this, I am also doing what? I am basically doing creating a privilege, which is this privilege is this one. This privilege entry point I've kept at this. And I've also created a role out of this, which is based out of this privilege. So this is a very straight and very simple project which I have created. And once done, what I have done is that I have simply went to extensions, and then I have deployed this to my target environment by selecting the model which basically I have used. You can additionally select DB sync, which I would always suggest to do, just in case if you have changed any kind of change in any entity, or you have introduced any field or any relation, any kind of modeling structure that you have changed. I would always request to perform a DB sync along with your deployment. So once this is done, it will show you in the output window. So if you go to view and if you launch your output window, it should look like this. So at the end, it will show the validation completed, and the let me go to this cloud runtime, and it will show you that the deployment is successful. This is the file name, this is the package name which it has deployed in your environment. And yes, the deployment is going to take a long time, specifically when you have chosen to do a DB sync. And once this is over, so the system is going to be auto started, the AOS is going to be auto started, and then you can come to system administration in setup, and then synchronize Dataverse custom APIs. Just reload this page, and to see like this class that which you just have created is showing inside this custom API table or not. So this is the way you can ascertain that your customization has really flown to your target environment. I mean, tier 2 environment. So once this is over, then the actual work starts, whereby you are going to create the custom API, the custom API request parameters, and custom API response parameters. Once this is over, what you need to do is to come to make.powerapps.com, and then you choose the environment where you want to do this customization. So I have selected this environment. Then what I need to do is that I need to go back to the solutions and choose solution where I am going to do this customization. By default, all our customizations are going to reside in the preferred solution, which is this common data service default solution. So this is our preferred solution, which is chosen by default by the system. So which is basically, marked by this preferred solution tag out here. But no worries, you can create your own solution out here. You can create your everything afresh and make that solution your preferred solution. So there is no hard coded, rule that you have to go by common data services default solution in any way. But before you begin, you need to understand and ascertain the prefix with which you should do your customization. There is a prefix, and that prefix you have to figure out what should be the prefix value that you are going to use in your defining your entities. So, how to find that prefix? It's very simple. So, if you click on this new solution, say for example, if you're clicking on this new solution, you can go to this publisher view and you can figure out like this is my keyword, the CR keyword, which should be which we can use in our customization. So we can copy this and keep it somewhere, and whatever name of the entity that we are going to create, whatever the name of the custom API request parameters, custom API response parameters that we are going to use, or whatever AI plugin that we are going to create, it should always have a prefix of this keyword. Okay, so I am doing what now? I'm getting inside this common data services default solution, and then I need to go to new, inside new, in more, and in more, inside more, I need to go all the way down to custom API. So when I select this, I am just going to, when I'm going to click on this, it is going to load up a form like this, which looks like, a lot of input values that you need to provide, which I will try to explain. Like, you have to give an unique name, you have to give a name and a display name and a description, and lastly you have to give a plugin type. So I will show you what I have done for generating the sales order packing slip plugin. Let me expand this, and I'm going to sales order packing slip plugin v2. So this is the plugin which I have created, and this should look like, let me expand the view a little bit. And as you could see, it has a unique name that starts with that CR number, which we have already copied. And then the name of the unique name should be the name of the class which we have created in our Visual Studio project. So this name of the class, you need to copy and paste it here. Give a proper name, so as to identify it in your future executions. So I'm giving a name like this and a display name like this. And finally, a description, which is more of describing what is the purpose of this plugin, what is the purpose of this custom API, and the binding type must be of type global. And lastly, the plugin type should be of invoke F&O custom API. So this is what you need to provide, and then you need to save and close. It's going to validate a lot of things like that. It's the name is really a unique name, or if it is a duplicate one. If everything comes clean, then this window will close on its own, and your parent screen is going to be showing you this pop-up like this, which you need to press on done, and it is going to refresh the page with your newly created custom API, which I've already created and I'm not creating it again. Then you need to head over to the next step, which is clicking on more and going to other and going to custom API request parameter, which is this step. When I have created this, I have to provide the couple of request parameters which I have defined in my class, namely the data area ID and the sales ID. So I have already created that, and this is my data area ID. Say to begin with, this is my data area ID. Let me open this, and you'd see like the data area ID's details should look like this. Let this get loaded. Yes. So it looks like this. Don't worry about the owner. It's saying as no name because my login, my credentials, when it was created, it was not given a proper name. Anything was not there. It's just a name. Just as you know, you can understand this is nothing but a developer's sandbox environment, so that we don't need to provide anything official. So don't worry about that. Then you need to specify the custom API which you have just created in the previous step. So you need to select that from the drop down. So in the next step, the unique name, that unique name is basically, it has a format of the sphere number underscore the name of the API which you just have created, and then underscore the parameter which you are trying to use. So our parameter here is data area ID. So you just type the name of the parameter. So in the next step, you give the name data area ID and display name as data area ID, and you give a description which is nothing but our legal entity, which is in our case is the name of the parameter. So when you have given all these values correctly, and lastly, you should also specify if this is an optional parameter or not. Yes, it is not an optional parameter, it's a mandatory parameter, and that's why it's is optional is set as no. Then once again, I'm going to save and close, and it's going to do validations and everything. If it finds everything is correct, then it's going to close this window and refresh the parent screen, which I'm doing by pressing on this done button. I have to repeat this step for whatever number of parameters I want to create and ascribe to my plugin. So in our case, the sales ID was another input parameter which I have created. And in the same way, we also need to provide a response parameter, which is going to more and in others. And I'm going all the way down to custom API request. In this case, not request, it's going to be custom API response property. So I have to select this feature, and I have already created this. So I'm just clicking on this method as a rate. So if you click on this method, it will show you all the details that you need to provide. So let's give it a moment to get loaded. Yes, I am selecting the custom API which I have created in the previous step, last but one step to be more precise. Sales order packing slip plugin v2, which is nothing but the name of my class. Then I am giving a name like unique name like the name of the class, then underscore the name of the value, the name of the response property, the return property, which I would like to return back to the user. And similarly, I'm giving a name like this and a display name like this and giving a description as a result of the execution. So, and obviously the type is of type string, and it's going to save and close. Let's save and close this. Once this is saved and closed, it's going to do a validation as usual. And this is going to refresh the screen with all the necessary details. So with all these values are been set, now the final step, which is nothing but creating a tool for our Copilot. With that, I am going to go to my Copilot Studio, and I will select the agent. The correct agent is, which is nothing but Copilot for Finance and Operations apps. And I'm also going to ensure like that my environment is correctly selected. And there is a section called the Add Tools, whereby I can add a tool into my agent. By adding a tool is actually going to let me allow the custom API which I just created in the previous step to use them here. And then I am going to the a little down here, which is the area where I can define my tools. So it's a little down. In my tools section, I can also see, like, here, either here you can add the tools, or you can go to here and keep on adding your tools. So sometime back, even in its previous avatars, it was used to be known as actions. Now we call it as tool. Moreover, they're performing the same activity. So I'm creating a tool here by adding a tool. So when I click on add a tool, it's going to give me a litter of options like Excel Online, Business, Microsoft Teams, Office 365 use. There's a lot of options are there. We are going to choose Microsoft Dataverse as a connector. So we are going to choose this, and then it's further going to give me a lot of options to choose from which I will choose perform an unbound action in selected environment, including custom actions. So this is where we can define our custom actions. We can call the APIs which we just have created. So I am clicking on this, and in the next screen, it's asking me, like, it is basically kind of acknowledging, it's kind of understanding if this is the connection string that I'm going to continue with. If you are getting this screen for the first time, and if this connection string is empty, you can choose your required parameter to get connected to your Dataverse environment. Then we can add and configure to keep the ball rolling. This screen is going to close up and going to take you to another screen where you can provide the further details. So let's wait till this ad is over. It's going to take some time. Giving a proper name to your tool that you want to create. So I give here a name like this: sales order backing slip, and give a proper description to it. So let me give a description like, and then I am going all the way down to providing inputs. So in my inputs tab, I need to select the environment. So if you select this drop down, it's saying dynamically fill with AI or custom value. So I'm selecting custom value, and then in the this drop down, I'm choosing the environment where I want this to happen. So as this is restricted to this environment, that's why I'm choosing this one. But you can optionally also choose current, as because of whichever environment you are logged on to, that is going to be considered on the runtime. So I'm selecting this, and then in the action name, I am then choosing here as custom value once again. And from this drop down, I need to choose the value of the API which I just created. And this is going to take a while to get the list be loaded. So let's wait. And here comes the list, which I am going all the way down to find out, like, it should begin with CR. So CR is right here. This is our plugin which I created. And so here, once this is done, it's going to ask for the input. So we already have our couple of inputs which we have added to our class. So I'm just keeping this, and this is going to show you the list of the inputs, the data area ID and the sales ID. So I'm choosing them one by one, and let's go to the next step. So this is the data area ID and then the sales ID. So so then I'm going to select customize. So if I select customize, it's going to ask me, like, if I want to keep the display name as is, or do I want to change this. So I'm changing this as data area ID, and I'm giving a description as the legal entity parameter. And in the advanced, you'd see there is a prompt saying that should prompt user. So this is most important part of the whole design. So if you don't tick this, if you keep this as unchecked, so consequently the prompt won't be shown when you are calling this agent, when you are calling this tool, and your inputs won't flow into the Copilot. So this is the first part, and I'm repeating the same exercise for the second one as well. So again, I'm customizing and I'm changing this to as a sales ID here, and I'm giving a description as sales order number. And here also in the advanced, let's ensure like this should prompt user is checked up. And lastly, if I go to the completion step, you'd see in the advanced, it's again showing as the return value, and the return value you can also change this to some display name as the response, something like this as a response. And that's it. Well, you can now save the tool, and it's ready to be leveraged. Now, once this is done, let's use the tool that we created. Let's go to the topics, and you can create a topic like this one which I created. I have mentioned these triggering phrases, as you could see, like SO packing slip or post sales order packing slip or SO delivery. These are the keywords. Whenever your Copilot is going to confront these keywords, it's going to be triggered. So in the next step, I'm adding a node, and adding a node, like I'm selecting add a tool from here. So in the tools tab, I should be able to see the SO packing slip, which I just have created. This tool, I'm selecting this, and all I need to do is basically in the outputs, I am just grabbing the output, which is basically returning from the execution of the tool, and I am eventually going to print them. I'm going to send them back to the user by sending a message. Just send a message out here, and you print the execution response. Like just input the variable from here, or you can insert a PowerFX expression. So I'm inserting a PowerFX expression like this. Just type topic, and then you select this rate. Rate is nothing but the return response which I'm getting from the above step from this variable. And just see, like I don't need to send any input variable, any input value from the user. Just I am calling this plugin action, the plugin tool, and I'm leaving the entire execution in the hands of the tool. The tool is going to prompt the user about the sales ID and the data area ID or whatever parameters are needed for its execution. I don't need to send them explicitly to the tool. Okay, so I am just going to give a proper name like sales order packing slip, and I'm gonna save this and gonna publish this. And with that, let's test our tool and our topic if they're working correctly or not. So this is a sales order which I have created, and I have just confirmed the sales order, and just I'm going to post the packing slip through the Copilot. So what I will do is that I will go get back to my Copilot studio and just go to test this like SO delivery, and let's wait for its response. So it's going to take a while, and it's loading, still loading. It's saying just now, and then it's asking me to provide the sales order, which evidently I've copied from the previous step. So I'm giving the sales order number, and then it's going to ask me the data area ID. So you see, this is all these two prompts are coming on their own, and I did not do anything. If you remember, I just ticked on those check boxes because of which those prompts were coming. So I am giving here the data area ID, and let's wait. And in a while, this is going to come up as the sales order packing slip has been posted successfully with the operation has been completed. So if I go back to the sales order and if I refresh my screen and let's go to the pick and pack tab, I'd see that packing slip has happened successfully. So this is a very powerful example of by which you can accentuate various kinds of document posting in finance and operations using your Copilot prompts by making your X++ code interact with Copilot topics and agents. So, with that, let me conclude this session. Please feel free to give me a nudge if you are facing any issues in understanding or implementing the solution in anywhere. You know my handlers, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Much love as always, Subhashish.